Okay, Cynthia. Clean and front squat. That's great. Caption said these felt heavy. They don't look heavy. No issues there. A little bit lazy with the feet. Like you can pick them up a bit more. To be honest, you're getting flat in time, so yeah, nice, solid, nice pull. Look at another one. Ooh, a little jump forward on that one. It's pretty small. It's not big enough or frequent enough to be an issue. All right, clean and front squat. Great. Interestingly, you jump forward again on that last set. Again, pretty small there. Just watch that. Like, if it gets any bigger than that, it'll start to become a problem. Right now, it's not causing enough horizontal displacement to be an issue. I feel like you can get a little bit more depth in that front squat. However, I know you've been dealing with a bit of a hip thing, so I imagine that's probably part or all of the reason. Again, good positions. Like, you can almost do like, how can I illustrate this? Like your hips basically at that angle, with your spine going into it like that. That's causing that overextension of the lower back. So it'll feel kind of weird. It'll almost feel like you're like pushing your hips forward that way, like rotating them forward. But like essentially that's what you have to do in order to bring your spine back to neutral. When you do that, you'll have less movement in your like lower back when you dip, and you'll also be more rigid, right? So you'll be able to transfer more energy up into the bar instead of losing some of it into your spine. Your correct foot placement wasn't quite as good. It's not bad, but like these are quite lightweight, so I'm kind of expecting them to be pretty consistent. Let me mute these. I like that one. Good. Here we go. I try to work on back position, still needs work. Split up time between squat and jerk. Yeah, we talked about that. Forgot to mention, but yeah. Yes, absolutely. Get it figured out before you even start the lift. Like, if you're stopping between the clean and jerk, or between the front squat and the jerk because you're worried you're not going to make the jerk, you're just giving yourself an opportunity to talk yourself out of it, right? So instead, what you need to do is, like, you clean and then you jerk. It's one movement. It's automatic. Like, your body does it, not your mind. That takes away the doubt. You just don't give yourself the opportunity to doubt. Like, once you pull on the bar or once you bend your knees for the front squat, like, it's done. It's a routine. It's a ritual. Like, we only really have variations of 2 exercises in this sport, so you shouldn't need to think during the lift. You'll have like 1 cue in your mind, maybe 2 that you're working on, and everything else is just automatic. Doing well other than the front squats, feeling like 105%. Very dramatic. Angles suck. Sorry, that's the warm up. Okay, let's have a look. Oh yeah, so we talked about like you said that you lift better when you do no hook, no feet in your warm ups, and I said, well, you tend to push your hips forward, so that makes sense. Why not do them as a warm up every time? Said you failed at the no feet. In my view, a no feet snatch, you don't need to keep your heels on the ground. So it's okay for your heels to come up. It's just like it's very difficult to push aggressively down into the floor with your legs without your heels coming up. So I would say that's a correct execution, unless I missed something on the first rep. Yeah, no, that's fine. Your feet turn in, but you didn't pick them up, and they didn't move. That's just them. They're rotating, right? Because you pull with your feet like this, and you squat with your feet like that. So they're just twisting. I'd say that still counts. Because keeping the ball of your foot down takes away the opportunity for you to reposition your body in response to the bar not being in the right spot. Okay, first working set. Nice. Nice receiving position. That's why I managed to miss this. That's just an overhead squat. Yeah, mobility is looking nice at the moment. Yeah, that was nice. Like, really straight pull. Good job. This angle's kind of workable, to be honest. I think there's a small jump forward. That's one of the few things I can't see from this angle. But overall, pretty good. This one I tried focusing on opening my hips as I sit up. I presume by that you mean pushing your knees out, right? Not like extending your hip angle. Tell me what you mean by opening your hips. These felt terrible every rep. Felt heavy. Honestly, the bar's moving real fast. There is like a small amount of collapse in the upper back there. You can kind of see like that kind of thoracic rounding is going to make it feel heavier, right? Because you can't transfer energy so well, and like the bar moves forward, which makes it harder. So what we've got to figure out is like, is the bar crashing on you? Doesn't look like it. So that looks like either you're just not engaging your upper back enough, or your upper back is fatigued or weak. That one didn't collapse so much. So yeah, honestly, you just really need to focus on like extending that thoracic spine in the receiving position for your front squat. If the clean crushes you a little bit, when you stand up, pop it up and keep it nice and tight for the front squat so you can reinforce that good position and build some strength in it. They look easy. I don't think they look too hard. What are your thoughts on still doing a 4-day program, but me going in on 1 or 2 extra days for accessories? I just don't have a ton of time, and I feel like this could be a solution. Also, I took a day off before day 3 and 4. Yet those were my worst training days. Okay, so first point. So you're saying you don't have a lot of time, but you can train 6 days a week. I feel like that's a lot of time put into training. I've kind of packed a fair amount into your program as it is. Let's bring it up. Just opening up your program to have a look. Honestly, like this program's pretty stacked up as it is. Like there's quite a lot of accessory in there. Anyway, like you're doing upper body pushing and pulling, you're doing pulls from the floor. If you feel like there's specific stuff that you want to target, we can discuss like going after like specific things. But at the moment, since you're just coming back to like more frequent training, like honestly, I think this is going to be adequate. I also think you might find that you do better with 4 days. Sometimes less is more. Um, sometimes less is more. Also, I took a day off between before day 3 and day 4. Yeah, those were my worst training days. So usually, what I find is when that happens is because on your rest day you haven't focused on recovery. Like, I haven't trained, so people then eat less and they sleep less, and then they end up in a worse spot than if they were training and they actually put some thought into their nutrition. So often that's the case, that people like, oh, I haven't trained, so I should eat less. But you're supposed to be recovering, right? So that if you have to eat if you want to recover. So a recovery day is not going to be effective if you don't fuel your body. So my wrist completely gives out when I try to stand up. It felt great on my elbow. I presume that's sarcasm. I can't see what's going on there because obviously the plate is in the way. You did rock back a lot. Oh, what's up? So we got to figure out, why do we have that big horizontal force? We're already struggling with this, aren't we? There's a few frames missing. Like honestly, the only thing is that like a one frame at the top where you can see. I don't know why it. It's something to do with video compression. I think I don't know why it looks like this, but you can see here this big gap, right? This big distance here. So like if I give you that reference point of like where your start position is, your bar should never cross this line, right? So because it does, you have to pull it back super hard. And then boom, it's just like stabilizing it is harder. You can do that with a lightweight. Heavyweight, it's a little bit harder. So like that's the importance of keeping the bar close. So you really like this one, but like here, I know I talk about this a lot, but like your shoulder's just really far in front of the bar, right? The problem with that is that when you stand up, you then have to work super hard with your lats to keep the bar close the whole time, because it's going to want to hang away from you. It's going to want to hang directly below the shoulders. Like you're obviously strong enough to hold this weight close. With a heavier weight, you're probably going to end up chasing it and jumping forward. That's why it's important not to have the shoulders too far in front of the bar, particularly in that first pull. Okay, here we started missing. 2 misses in a row. This is one of those inexplicable misses where you turn the bar over, you're in like there's a little bit of like horizontal force you're absorbing, right? You can see it bouncing around. But like this position looks like you can stabilize it. I almost feel like you start with this. Oh, can't that too early. But your weight goes all the way back. And you're like, wow, the bar's going too far behind me, and you stop pulling it back. So like you do need to pull the bar back behind you a bit more aggressively. Like that. Yeah. So honestly, like these two, you're just not pulling the bar back enough. Which is like an overcompensation for the bar being too far back on the previous sets, which, as we saw, was caused by just simply not keeping the bar close enough in the turnover, which is very, very key. Your shoulders are very far forward, like far in front of the bar. You're getting away with it with this light weight because your lats are strong enough, but like eventually you'll get to a weight where you can't just squeeze it back into you, either because your lats aren't strong enough or because the bar's too heavy relative to your body weight, and it'll pull you around, and you'll end up jumping forward and so on. So you got to get that chest up a bit more in the pull. Nice, and a jerk. Okay, look, you see here, when you receive the bar, forward shin angle like that, like what's happening here is you can see the distance that your foot has moved is less than a foot's length, right? The distance that your foot should move is a foot length and a half, right? So like that's about a half foot length for you. Maybe that's a little bit much, but like your foot should start behind this line and then completely clear this line. So your foot should end up here rather than back here where it is. So you need to step forward a lot more. That's the difference between this rep and those nice jerks that you sent me earlier in the week. Great clean. Looking strong today. Nice and fast. Let's see if you get that front foot moving. That's better. It moved a bit more, but you're tending to short step these. Caption here, you're struggling to get your hand placement correct. Gotta pop the bar. And I can see how that distracts you and kind of messes up your footwork, but like a part of that is that rhythm between the clean and the jerk. So like when you stand up, just like popping your hands straight away and doing it the same every time is going to make you more consistent. With the extra front squat, you're going to get less height when you try and pop it because you'll be tired. I think like that combined with like what we saw in those cleans that were hard kind of indicate the upper back is lagging behind, like your ability to hold that thoracic spine in extension. So which makes sense, right? Because we're struggling with like pull-ups at the moment as well. So like maybe some more accessory in terms of pull-ups and rows, and maybe I'll give you some special exercises like I don't know, like pause front squats or something. I'll have a think about how we can target extending the upper back and making that a more rigid structure. Because like if there's one weakness that we can see, it's probably in the upper back right now. That might also help with those snatches where you look like you're in a balanced position and then miss it forward. Okay, good week of training. Keep me updated next week and let me know if you have any questions.